Elena Vasquez stood by the large window of her ship. She watched the enemy fleet coming closer to Earth. The ships looked huge and dangerous. There were so many of them that they blocked out the stars. Elena smiled. The aliens had no idea what they were really looking at. Her ship looked like an old cargo hauler. The paint was peeling. There were rust spots everywhere. The engines made noise like they might break down any minute. But Elena knew better. This was exactly what they wanted the aliens to think. For 300 years, humans had been acting weak. They pretended to be stupid. They let the aliens boss them around. The Galactic Council treated humans like pets. They gave humans small amounts of territory. They controlled all trade. They made rules that kept humans poor and powerless, but it was all an act. Elena touched a hidden panel on the wall. A screen appeared showing the real status of her ship. Weapons that could destroy planets, shields stronger than anything the aliens had, engines that could outrun anything in space. All hidden behind fake walls and disguised as broken junk. The communication system crackled to life. "Commander Vasquez, this is Admiral Reeves on the Defiance. Are you ready?" Elena looked at the alien fleet again. 200 ships, the biggest force the galaxy had ever seen. Representatives from 12 different alien races, all coming to destroy humanity. "Ready, Admiral. All ships are in position." 3 centuries ago, when humans first built their starships, they knew this day would come. The galaxy was full of older races, stronger races that would not want to share power with newcomers. So humans made a plan. They built warships, the best warships anyone had ever made. But they disguised them, made them look weak, made them look harmless. Then they went out into the galaxy pretending to be peaceful merchants and explorers. The aliens welcomed them. Poor little humans with their slow ships and weak weapons. They felt sorry for humans. They gave them small jobs, let them carry cargo between star systems, taught them basic technology, never suspecting that humans already had better technology than any of them. Elena remembered her grandfather's stories. He was one of the first humans to meet the aliens. He told her about the council meetings, how the aliens would pat humans on the head like good children, how they would explain simple things very slowly, thinking humans were too stupid to understand. The whole time, human ships were everywhere, mapping every star system, learning about alien technology, finding weaknesses, preparing for war. Elena's second officer walked up to her. Lieutenant Martinez was young. This would be his first real battle. "Commander, the alien flagship is sending a message. Should we respond?" "Put it on screen." The image of Ambassador Kethvar appeared. He was a tall, thin alien with 4 arms and skin like a lizard. His voice was cold and arrogant. "Humans of Earth, you have 48 hours to surrender your colonies in the outer systems. If you refuse, we will take them by force. You cannot fight the combined might of the Galactic Council." Elena wanted to laugh. The aliens still thought humans were weak. They had no idea that every human ship in the galaxy was actually a warship. They thought the 300 cargo ships scattered around Council space were helpless. They did not know that Earth's mining stations were actually weapons platforms that could destroy fleets. "Should we respond, Commander?" Martinez asked. "Not yet. Let them get closer." Elena watched the alien fleet move into attack formation. They were being careful. They did not want to hurt the defenseless humans too much. The Council still thought they could make humans into slaves. They wanted to capture Earth cities intact, take human workers for their factories. They had no idea they were flying into a trap 300 years in the making. Elena thought about all the human children who had grown up pretending to be weak. All the human merchants who had to bow and scrape to alien customers. All the human diplomats who had to sit quietly while aliens insulted their species. It had been hard. Many humans wanted to fight back sooner. But the plan required patience. It required sacrifice. It required everyone to play their part perfectly. Now it was time for the truth. Elena opened a channel to all human ships. There were more than 300 of them. Every single one looked like civilian vessels. Cargo haulers, mining ships, passenger transports, research vessels. All scattered across the galaxy, all in perfect position. "All ships, this is Commander Vasquez. Operation Prometheus begins in 10 minutes. Prepare for unmasking." Lieutenant Martinez looked confused. "Commander, what's Operation Prometheus?" Elena smiled. "You'll see, Lieutenant. You'll see." She looked at the alien fleet again. They were so confident, so sure of their victory. The flagship alone was 3 times bigger than any human ship they had ever seen. Its weapons could destroy cities. Its shields could stop nuclear bombs. But the aliens had never seen a real human warship. Elena counted the seconds. All across the galaxy, human ships were getting ready. Hidden weapons were powering up. Fake hull plates were preparing to slide away. The greatest deception in galactic history was about to end. 5 minutes to unmasking, Elena announced. The alien fleet was close now. Close enough that Elena could see the details of their ships. The Council had brought their best. Dreadnoughts from the warrior race of Korax. Fast attack ships from the insect-like hive. Energy weapons from the crystal beings of Altair. Every alien technology that had dominated the galaxy for thousands of years. All of it about to become obsolete. 2 minutes, Elena said. She thought about her grandmother. The woman had lived her whole life pretending to be a simple cargo pilot. She had carried alien goods from system to system. She had smiled when aliens called her primitive. She had died knowing that her sacrifice would make this moment possible. Elena's ship was named after her grandmother, the Maria Santos. To the aliens, it was just another old cargo hauler. They did not know it carried enough firepower to destroy a moon. 1 minute. Lieutenant Martinez was nervous now. He could tell something big was about to happen. But like most young humans, he had no idea how big. The truth about human military power was kept secret. Only ship commanders and government leaders knew the full extent of what humanity could do. 30 seconds. Elena felt calm. This was the moment her people had been preparing for since they first left Earth, the moment when humanity would stop pretending and show the galaxy what they really were, not the weak junior race the aliens thought they knew, not the grateful students accepting lessons from their betters, not the harmless merchants grateful for any scraps of trade. Humanity was a race of warriors who had chosen to be patient. 10 seconds. Elena looked at the alien fleet one last time. 200 ships full of beings who thought they were about to win an easy victory against a primitive species. They were about to learn the truth about humanity. Time, Elena said quietly. Begin Operation Prometheus. All across the galaxy, human ships began to change. The greatest deception in galactic history was over. The real war was about to begin. Captain Sarah Chen's voice echoed through space on secret communication channels. Every human ship in the galaxy heard her words at the same time. Operation Prometheus is active. Begin unmasking now. Across 300 star systems, something impossible started to happen. Human cargo ships began to change. What looked like old rusty metal started sliding away. Beneath the fake outer shells, gleaming weapons appeared. Laser cannons emerged from hidden compartments. Missile tubes opened along ship hulls. Shield generators that had been disguised as cargo containers suddenly powered up. The aliens had no idea what they were seeing. On the Council flagship, Admiral Zexthar stared at his scanner displays in disbelief. The readings made no sense. The small human cargo ship in front of him was showing energy levels higher than his own battleship. Check the sensors, he ordered his crew. There must be an error. But there was no error. The human ship that had looked like junk a minute ago was now revealing weapon systems more advanced than anything in the Council fleet. The Maria Santos finished its transformation first. Elena watched as the last fake hull plates fell away. Her ship now looked like what it really was, a battlecruiser capable of fighting an entire fleet by itself. The rust and damage had been painted on. The weak engines had been fake covers over the most powerful drives ever built. Lieutenant Martinez could only stare. Commander, what is this ship? This is a Titan-class heavy cruiser, Elena explained calmly. Built in the shipyards of Europa 300 years ago. Every human ship you've ever seen is actually a warship. We've been preparing for this war since before you were born. All around Earth, the transformation continued. What the aliens thought was a small orbital mining station suddenly revealed itself as a fortress. Solar collectors folded back to show rows of planet-killing weapons. Communication satellites opened up to launch swarms of fighter drones. Even Earth's moon was changing. The alien fleet had ignored it completely. It looked like a natural satellite with a few small human research bases. Now those bases were expanding. Rising from hidden underground bunkers came the largest weapons platforms ever constructed. The entire moon was actually a giant military base. Admiral Zexthar finally found his voice. All ships, battle alert. The humans were hiding their true strength. Prepare for combat! But it was too late. The human ships were already in perfect attack positions. They had spent centuries learning every detail of alien technology. They knew the weaknesses of every ship design. They had mapped every trade route and military base. The Council fleet had walked into a trap. Captain Chen opened a communication channel to all alien ships. Her message went out on every frequency. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force. You are surrounded by superior firepower. You have 30 seconds to withdraw from Earth space or we will destroy you." The bridge of the alien flagship erupted in angry voices. Ambassador Kethavar's forearms waved frantically. "Impossible. Our intelligence reports show humans lack advanced technology. They are primitive." Admiral Zexthar checked his weapon systems. His fleet still outnumbered the humans. His ships were still large and powerful. "They are bluffing. No primitive race could threaten the Council fleet. All ships, prepare to attack." Elena heard the alien response through her communication system. They were refusing to surrender. They still thought they could win. After all these years, they still did not understand humanity. "Lieutenant Martinez," Elena said calmly, "would you like to see what this ship can really do?" The young officer nodded, too shocked to speak. Elena touched a control panel. Around her ship, space began to change. Energy fields that had been hidden now became visible. The Maria Santos was not alone. There were dozens of other human ships nearby, all invisible until now, stealth technology that made them disappear from alien sensors. The Council fleet had thought they were fighting 300 human ships. They were actually surrounded by over 1,000. Captain Chen's voice came over the communications again. "Admiral Zexthar, you now have 10 seconds to surrender. This is your final warning. The alien admiral made the worst mistake of his life. All ships, fire! Destroy these upstart humans!" The alien fleet opened fire. Hundreds of energy beams and missiles streaked through space toward the human ships. It was an impressive display of firepower. Enough weapons to destroy a planet. The human response was even more impressive. Every human ship activated its defense systems at the same time. Advanced shields absorbed the alien weapons without any damage. Energy screens deflected missiles back at the ships that fired them. Some human ships did not even bother with shields. Their armor was so strong that alien weapons bounced off like raindrops. Then the humans fired back. Elena watched as her ship's main weapon charged up. It was called a particle accelerator cannon. It could punch a hole through a small moon. She had never used it in combat before. None of the human weapons had been used in real war. They had been built and tested but never fired in anger. Today would be different. "Fire," Elena ordered. The Maria Santos erupted with light. Its main cannon sent a beam of pure energy across space. The beam hit an alien battleship and went completely through it. The ship exploded instantly. Its shields and armor meant nothing against human technology. All around the battle, the same thing was happening. Human ships that had pretended to be weak for centuries were finally showing their true power. Alien vessels that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years were being destroyed in seconds. The aliens had energy weapons. The humans had weapons that moved faster than light itself. The aliens had shields. The humans had guns that ignored shields completely. The aliens had experience fighting many wars. The humans had spent 3 centuries preparing for this one war. Admiral Zexthar watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart. Ships that had cost fortunes to build were being destroyed like toys. Crews that had trained for decades were dying in seconds. The greatest military force in galactic history was helpless against human technology. "Retreat," he ordered. "All ships retreat." But retreat was impossible. The human ships were faster. They were everywhere. Every escape route was blocked. The Council fleet was trapped in a net 3 centuries in the making. Elena felt sorry for the alien crews. They were brave warriors fighting for what they believed in. But they had chosen to threaten humanity. They had decided that humans were too weak to fight back. They had made the mistake of believing their own propaganda. Now they were learning the truth. Humanity had never been weak. They had been waiting. The first phase of the battle lasted exactly 4 minutes. When it was over, half the alien fleet was destroyed. The other half was crippled and helpless. Not a single human ship was even damaged. Captain Chen opened communications again. "Admiral Zexthar, do you wish to continue this fight?" The alien admiral looked at the ruins of his fleet. His flagship was the only ship still capable of fighting, and it was surrounded by human vessels that could destroy it instantly. For the first time in his life, Admiral Zexthar was completely outmatched. "We surrender," he whispered. Admiral Zexthar stared at the communication screen in disbelief. His surrender offer hung in the air like a death sentence. Around his flagship, the wreckage of the Council fleet drifted in space. Ships that had been the pride of their civilizations were now nothing but twisted metal and debris. Captain Sarah Chen's voice came through the speakers. "Surrender noted, Admiral, but I'm afraid this battle is far from over." Elena watched from the Maria Santos as more human ships appeared. They had been hidden throughout the solar system, waiting for this moment. Transport ships that revealed themselves as aircraft carriers, mining vessels that opened up to release clouds of attack drones, even asteroids that split apart to show weapons platforms built inside them. The aliens had thought they were fighting 300 human ships. Now they realized there were thousands. Lieutenant Martinez finally found his voice. "Commander, how long have we been preparing for this?" Elena checked her tactical display. The battle was going exactly according to plan. A plan that had been 3 centuries in the making. Since before humans ever left Earth, Lieutenant. Our first starships weren't exploration vessels. They were scouts, mapping the galaxy and learning about alien military capabilities. Across space, the real firepower of humanity was finally being revealed. The Defiance, disguised as a simple mining platform, shed its fake exterior to show what it really was. A battleship 2 kilometers long, bristling with weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Its main gun was powered by a controlled black hole. When it fired, reality itself seemed to bend. Admiral Zexthar tried to contact his remaining ships. Most did not respond. The few that did were reporting impossible damage. Their best weapons had no effect on human shields. Their strongest armor was being cut through like paper. The technological advantage was so complete that it seemed like magic. "How is this possible?" he whispered to his science officer. "Our intelligence reports said humans were primitive. We've monitored their technology for centuries." His science officer, a crystalline being from Altair Prime, spoke in shaking tones. "Admiral, I think we've been monitoring fake technology. Everything we've seen from humans has been a deception." The truth was worse than that. Not only had humans hidden their real technology, they had been actively feeding false information to alien intelligence services. Every trade agreement had been a chance to plant fake technical data. Every diplomatic meeting had been an opportunity to spread lies about human capabilities. Elena opened a channel to the alien flagship. "Admiral Zexthar, your fleet is finished. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your shields cannot protect you. But we're not monsters. Surrender your ships and we'll allow your crews to live." The alien admiral looked around his bridge. His officers were young beings who had never seen real combat. They had joined the military during peacetime, expecting easy victories against primitive races. Now they faced an enemy so advanced that resistance was impossible. "All ships," he broadcast on the emergency frequency. "Ceasefire. Lower shields. Prepare for surrender." But Captain Chen had other plans. "Admiral, I appreciate your cooperation. However, this battle has a larger purpose. The Galactic Council needs to understand the true balance of power in this galaxy. What happened next would be talked about for generations." Chen gave orders to the human fleet, and they began to demonstrate capabilities that defied alien understanding of physics. Ships that moved faster than light without using jump drives. Weapons that could destroy targets in other star systems. Shields that absorbed entire star systems' worth of energy without weakening. Elena watched as human ships began to systematically destroy every piece of alien military technology in the solar system. Not just the ships, but the weapons, the communications equipment, even the escape pods. They were sending a message that could not be misunderstood. The age of alien dominance was over. Lieutenant Martinez was trying to understand what he was seeing. "Commander, are we really this powerful? Have we always been this strong?" Elena nodded. Humanity learned early that the galaxy was a dangerous place. When we first detected alien signals, our leaders made a decision. We would enter space prepared for war, but hoping for peace. Every human who has lived in space for the past 3 centuries has been part of the greatest military deception in history. She gestured to the tactical display showing human ships throughout Council space. Every cargo run was a reconnaissance mission. Every trade deal was intelligence gathering. Every peaceful contact was preparation for this day. The scope of human preparation became clear as reports came in from across the galaxy. Human ships that had operated peacefully for generations were revealing their true nature everywhere at once. Council military bases found themselves surrounded by vessels they had escorted dozens of times. Alien homeworlds discovered that the research stations in their outer systems were actually weapons platforms. The famous merchant ship Happy Trader, known throughout Council space for carrying exotic foods, opened up to reveal a weapons system that could sterilize planets. The passenger liner New Hope, which had carried thousands of alien tourists to Earth over the years, transformed into a command ship coordinating human forces across 3 sectors. Even more shocking was the discovery that many natural phenomena in Council space were actually human constructs. The beautiful aurora around Centauri Station that aliens had admired for decades was actually a cloaking field hiding a human battle fleet. The strange asteroids in the Vega system were mobile weapons platforms. Admiral Zexthar received reports from across Council space. Every major military installation was either destroyed or surrounded. Every fleet base was under human control. The entire military structure that had kept peace in the galaxy for millennia had been neutralized in less than an hour. Impossible, he kept muttering. This level of coordination, the intelligence requirements, the resources needed. Elena heard his words through the open communication channel. Admiral, you're thinking like someone who builds a military during wartime. Humanity has been building this military during 3 centuries of peace. We've had time to do things properly. The final phase of the battle began as human ships started to demonstrate their most advanced capabilities. Weapons that could affect the quantum structure of matter itself. Ships that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Technology that seemed to violate every known law of physics. The aliens had ruled the galaxy because they had the best technology available. They had never imagined that a species could develop science so far beyond their understanding. Captain Chen opened communications to every Council world simultaneously. Her message reached billions of aliens across thousands of planets. People of the Galactic Council, your military forces have been defeated. Your leaders chose to threaten humanity with extinction. We have chosen to respond with overwhelming force. The message continued, carrying details of human technological superiority to every corner of Council space. Scientists who had considered themselves experts realized they knew nothing. Military leaders who had planned for every contingency discovered they had prepared for the wrong war. Politicians who had dismissed humanity as unimportant learned they had insulted the most powerful race in the galaxy. Elena looked at Lieutenant Martinez. The young officer was beginning to understand the magnitude of what he was seeing. Lieutenant, what you're witnessing is the end of one age and the beginning of another. The Galactic Council has ruled through military superiority for thousands of years. That superiority no longer exists. The battle was over, but its consequences were just beginning. Across the galaxy, alien governments were receiving reports that changed everything they thought they knew about the universe. The primitive humans they had patronized were actually a species so advanced that conflict was impossible. Elena smiled as she watched the alien flagship drift helplessly among the wreckage of its fleet. Admiral Zexthar and his crew would live to tell the story of this day. They would carry the news back to their homeworlds that the galaxy had new masters. Masters who had been hiding in plain sight for 3 centuries, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. The waiting was over. The battle that changed galactic history lasted exactly 7 minutes and 34 seconds. When it ended, the space around Earth looked like a graveyard of alien ambitions. Twisted metal drifted among the stars where proud warships had once sailed. The greatest military force ever assembled by the Galactic Council had been reduced to debris and survivors. Elena Vasquez watched the final moments from her command deck. The alien flagship, Admiral Zexthar's Pride, hung dead in space. Its engines were dark. Its weapons were silent. Its crew was broadcasting surrender messages on every frequency they could find. Around the crippled vessel, 16 other alien ships drifted in various states of damage. These were the only survivors Captain Chen had chosen to spare. They would carry the story of this day back to their homeworlds. The rest of the Council fleet, 183 ships representing the finest military technology of 12 different species, was gone. Lieutenant Martinez could barely speak. Commander, in 7 minutes we destroyed an entire fleet. How is that possible? Elena checked her ship's status display. The Maria Santos had not received even a scratch. None of the human ships had. The alien weapons had been completely ineffective against human shields and armor. Lieutenant, imagine you're fighting someone with a sword while you have a laser rifle. That's the technological gap we're dealing with. But the destruction around Earth was just the beginning. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy as the true scope of Operation Prometheus became clear. Human ships that had operated peacefully in Council space for centuries were simultaneously revealing their true nature everywhere at once. On Corax Prime, homeworld of the galaxy's most feared warriors, 6 human cargo vessels suddenly surrounded the orbital defense stations. The Corax had built their reputation fighting with honor and strength. They discovered that honor meant nothing against weapons that could destroy their ships before they could even target the enemy. The proud Corax Admiral Techmore sent one desperate message before his communications were cut. The humans have technology beyond our comprehension. We surrender to superior force. It was the first time in Corax history that their military had surrendered without losing a single battle. On Hive Central, the insect-like aliens watched in horror as their swarm fleets were overwhelmed by human drones. The Hive had always won through numbers, sending thousands of small ships against their enemies. Human artificial intelligence controlled millions of drones with perfect coordination. The swarm was beaten by a bigger swarm. Queen Zictel's final transmission was simple. We acknowledge new hive mind superiority. Hive submits to human collective. The crystalline beings of Altair Prime discovered that their energy-based technology was useless against human adaptive systems. Human ships absorbed their most powerful attacks and converted the energy to strengthen their own shields. Grand Crystal Resonance Kethlin watched her entire fleet drain their energy banks, firing at enemies who only grew stronger with each attack. Every major alien civilization faced the same shocking reality. Technology they had spent millennia developing was primitive compared to human science. Military strategies that had won thousands of wars were useless against enemies who fought with weapons they could not understand. Elena opened a communication channel to Admiral Zexthar. The alien leader looked defeated and old. His forearms hung limp at his sides. His usual arrogance was gone, replaced by the hollow stare of someone whose entire worldview had collapsed. "Admiral," Elena said gently, "your crew will be treated well. We're not conquerors. We never wanted this war." Zexthar looked up at her image on his screen. "Then why? Why hide your strength for so long? Why pretend to be weak?" Elena considered her answer carefully. "Because we hoped you would accept us as equals. We came to the galaxy in peace, but we came prepared for war. When the Council offered peaceful coexistence, we gladly accepted it. We thought it could last forever. But you were always planning for this," the Admiral said. "No," Elena replied. "We were always prepared for this. There's a difference. We hoped it would never be necessary." The scope of human preparation was becoming clear as data came in from across Council space. Every merchant ship had been a spy vessel. Every research station had been a military outpost. Every peaceful human settlement had been a forward base. Captain Chen's voice came over the communication system, addressing all ships. "Phase 1 is complete. Begin Phase 2. Secure all Council military assets. Treat prisoners with respect. Remember, we're not here to conquer. We're here to survive." Lieutenant Martinez was studying the tactical displays, trying to understand what he was seeing. "Commander, how many ships do we really have?" Elena smiled sadly. "Martinez, every human vessel that has ever left Earth has been designed for war. We have cargo ships that are actually battle cruisers, research vessels that are really spy ships, passenger liners that can fight dreadnoughts. Even our orbital habitats are weapons platforms." The young officer looked shocked. "Everything? The entire human presence in space is military?" "Not military," Elena corrected. "Defensive. There's a difference. We built all this to protect ourselves, not to attack others." Reports continued flooding in from human ships throughout the galaxy. The famous merchant vessel Lucky Strike, which had carried trade goods for 2 centuries, revealed weapons capable of destroying space stations. The research ship Curiosity, known for its peaceful scientific missions, opened hidden bays containing fighter squadrons. Most shocking of all was the revelation about Earth's civilian infrastructure. The orbital farms that fed human colonies were actually factories producing military equipment. The asteroid mining operations were really construction sites building new warships. Even the space elevators connecting Earth to orbit were disguised weapons that could shoot down fleets. Admiral Zexithar was reading similar reports from his surviving intelligence officers. 3 centuries, he whispered. 3 centuries of deception. How many beings knew the truth? Elena heard his question through the open channel. Every adult human in space knew we were part of the defense force, but most didn't know the full extent of our capabilities. What you've seen today surprised even some of our own people. The aliens were beginning to understand the scope of what they had faced. This had not been a battle between two military forces. It had been a carefully planned operation by a species that had spent 300 years preparing for this exact scenario. Human intelligence services had mapped every alien ship design. Human engineers had tested weapons against every type of alien technology. Human strategists had planned for every possible battle scenario. When the moment came, there had been no uncertainty, no confusion, no mistakes. Elena looked at the wreckage floating around Earth. She felt no joy in victory. These had been brave beings fighting for what they believed in. But they had chosen to threaten humanity's existence. They had decided that humans were too weak to resist. They had been wrong about human weakness. But more importantly, they had been wrong about human nature. Humans did not want to rule the galaxy. They wanted to be left alone to live their lives in peace. Now they would have that peace, but it would come from strength, not from hiding. Captain Chen's next transmission went out to every council world simultaneously. People of the galaxy, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force. Your military forces have been neutralized. Your governments must now decide how they wish to interact with humanity in the future. The message was clear. The old rules were gone. The time when aliens could dictate terms to humanity was over. A new age was beginning, and it would be very different from what had come before. Elena looked at Lieutenant Martinez. What you've witnessed today, Lieutenant, is the moment humanity stopped pretending to be weak. The question now is what we do with our strength. The young officer nodded slowly. What happens next, Commander? Elena smiled. Now we find out if the galaxy can accept the truth about humanity, and whether we can build a better future together. The battle was over, but the real challenge was just beginning. 3 days after the Battle of Earth, Captain Sarah Chen stood in the Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council. But everything was different now. The chamber that had once been used to lecture humanity about its place in the galaxy was now filled with aliens waiting to hear human demands. The representatives who had once looked down on humanity with condescending smiles now sat in shocked silence. Their military fleets were gone. Their space stations were occupied. Their homeworlds were within range of human weapons that could destroy planets. Chen looked around the chamber at faces that showed fear, confusion, and disbelief. These beings had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. They had never imagined they could be defeated so completely or so quickly. Elena Vasquez stood beside Chen as part of the human delegation. She had helped plan this moment for decades, but now that it was here, she felt the weight of history on her shoulders. What happened in this chamber would determine the future of every species in the galaxy. Ambassador Kethvar, who had delivered the ultimatum that started the war, now spoke with a trembling voice. Captain Chen, what are your terms for our surrender? Chen stepped forward to the speaker's platform. Her voice was calm but carried the authority of absolute victory. Ambassador Kethvar, the first thing you need to understand is that we're not here as conquerors. We never wanted to rule the galaxy. We just wanted to be left alone. She activated a holographic display showing the current positions of human forces. Every major alien world was surrounded. Every important trade route was controlled. Every military installation was either destroyed or occupied. For 3 centuries, we accepted your restrictions because we hoped for peaceful coexistence. We followed your trade rules. We accepted your territorial limitations. We endured your patronizing guidance. We did all of this because we believed that different species could live together in harmony. The Altarian delegate, his crystal body flickering with nervous energy, interrupted. But you were always preparing for war. You deceived us from the beginning. Chen nodded. Yes, we were prepared for war. But preparation is not the same as desire. We came to the galaxy ready to defend ourselves, but hoping we would never need to. When you offered peace, we accepted it gladly. When you chose war, we were ready for it. Elena watched the alien faces as Chen spoke. She could see them struggling to understand. These beings had grown up in a galaxy where military strength determined political power. They could not imagine a species that had superior strength but chose not to use it. The question now, Chen continued, is whether we can build a better relationship, one based on mutual respect instead of domination. The Corax representative, Admiral Thecamore, leaned forward. His warrior culture valued strength above all else. What do you want from us, humans? What price do you demand for our defeat? Chen smiled. Admiral, you're thinking like someone who expects to be conquered. We don't want tribute. We don't want slaves. We don't want your territory. We want something much simpler. She gestured to the holographic display which now showed human proposals for galactic reorganization. We want equal representation in the Galactic Council. We want an end to the trade restrictions that have kept humanity isolated. We want the right to expand our territory into unclaimed space. And we want recognition that Earth is a sovereign world that makes its own decisions. The alien representatives looked confused. Queen Zictel of the Hive spoke in clicking sounds that her translator converted to speech. That is all? You have the power to dominate the galaxy, but you only want equality. Elena stepped forward to answer. Your Majesty, humans are not interested in ruling other species. We never have been. Even on our homeworld, we've always been most successful when different groups work together as equals, rather than when one group dominated the others. Grand crystal resonance. Kethlin's light patterns showed deep thought. But if you have superior technology, why share power? Why not simply take what you want? Chen looked around the chamber at all the alien faces. Because that's not who we are. Humans have learned that forced cooperation doesn't last. Real peace comes from willing partnership between equals. She activated another display showing human technology being shared with alien scientists. We're prepared to offer something unprecedented. Limited access to human technology in exchange for peaceful cooperation. Medical advances that could save millions of lives. Energy systems that could power entire civilizations. Manufacturing techniques that could end scarcity. The chamber erupted in excited voices. The aliens were speaking in dozens of languages, their translators struggling to keep up. The offer was beyond anything they had expected. Admiral Zexthar, who had commanded the defeated Council fleet, stood up slowly. Captain Chen, you're offering to share technology that could make us all more powerful than we've ever been. What guarantee do you have that we won't use it against you? Chen's smile was confident but not arrogant. Admiral, we're 300 years ahead of you technologically. Even with our help, it would take you centuries to catch up to where we are now. And by then, we'll have advanced even further. Elena added, more importantly, Admiral, we've designed our technology sharing carefully. What we offer will make your lives better, but it won't give you the ability to threaten us. We're not naive about galactic politics. The Hive Queen clicked thoughtfully. You have planned for this contingency as well. Even your generosity is strategic. Everything humans do is strategic, Elena replied. But that doesn't mean it's not also genuine. We really do want to help. We really do want peace, but we also want to survive. Chen activated a final display showing the new galactic order being proposed. The old council system is gone. The age when a few species could dictate terms to everyone else is over. We're proposing a new system based on mutual respect and shared benefit. The display showed human ships withdrawing from most alien territories, trade routes reopening with humans as equal partners, joint research projects between human and alien scientists. Most importantly, it showed a galaxy where no single species had enough military power to threaten all the others. Ambassador Kethvar looked at the proposals carefully. And if we refuse these terms? Chen's expression became serious. Then you'll discover that what you witnessed at Earth was just a demonstration. We have weapons you haven't seen yet, and the will to use them if necessary, but I hope it won't come to that. Elena watched as the alien representatives realized they had no choice, but she could also see that many of them were beginning to understand that the human offer was actually generous. Instead of being conquered, they were being invited to join a new kind of galactic civilization. The Corax Admiral was the first to speak. Captain Chen, the warrior code of my people respects strength. You have proven your strength beyond question. Corax accepts your terms. One by one, the other species added their agreement. The Hive Queen spoke for her entire collective consciousness. The crystal resonance agreed on behalf of all Altarian colonies. Even the proud Zephyrians, who had never submitted to anyone, acknowledged the new reality. When the voting was complete, Chen looked around the chamber. Thank you all for your wisdom. This is the beginning of a new age for the galaxy, an age where different species work together instead of fighting each other. Elena felt a sense of relief wash over her. The plan had worked. Humanity had revealed its strength, won its war, and secured its future. But more than that, they had done it without becoming the kind of species they had always opposed. As the delegates filed out of the chamber, Chen turned to Elena. "Do you think they'll keep their word?" Elena considered the question carefully. "Some will. Others will test us. But they all know now that we're not the weak species they thought we were. And they all know the consequences of threatening humanity." Chen nodded. "What happens next?" Elena smiled. "Now we find out if we can build the peaceful galaxy we've always wanted. We have the strength to enforce peace. The question is whether we have the wisdom to use that strength correctly." Outside the chamber, human ships were already beginning to withdraw from alien space. Trade agreements were being negotiated. Scientific exchange programs were being planned. The galaxy was starting to adjust to its new reality. Humanity had won its war not through conquest but through revelation. They had shown that sometimes the greatest victory comes not from destroying your enemies, but from convincing them to become your allies. The age of human hiding was over. The age of human leadership had begun, and for the first time in galactic history, leadership was being offered to those who chose to accept it, rather than forced on those too weak to resist it. Elena looked out at the stars and smiled. After 3 centuries of preparation, humanity could finally stop pretending to be weak. They could start being what they had always been, a species strong enough to protect what they loved, and wise enough to share their strength with others. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly what humanity had been hoping for.